So by now, I'm sure you know that Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake. What's up everybody, this is McStan and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the real reason why Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake and whether or not it should get a remake. But before we get into that, I have to ask you to please hit that like button. For this video, we're going to try to reach a goal of 30 likes. And maybe consider subscribing if you're a Resident Evil fan like myself, because this channel will be doing a lot of Resident Evil stuff in the future, and you're not going to want to miss it. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So I wanted to start this video off by saying that I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I've been playing Resident Evil ever since I was a child. I started with the original Resident Evil trilogy all the way back on the original PlayStation 1. Now, as you can imagine, me playing this as a kid, probably about 7 years old, I was terrified to play these games. But there was something about Resident Evil that just drew me in, and I loved the fear factor of it. I remember sitting on the couch with my brother, trying to play the game and just being too scared to play it, and we would make our dad play it because we were just too afraid to play it ourselves, and we were still scared watching him play the game. So the original trilogy played a huge role in my childhood, and I'm kind of biased when it comes to Resident Evil because I will always prefer the originals compared to the newer games. But with that being said, I do like the newer games, and I do like Resident Evil 4, so let's talk about Resident Evil 4. So when I first played Resident Evil 4, way back in 2005, I was just blown away. I remember playing this game for the first time ever, and I couldn't believe how good the game looked, how different it was from the originals. I remember walking into the village, looking through the binoculars at the burning police officers, and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe how good this game was, how amazing it felt. The controls were so fluent. And I just remember thinking in my head, whoa, this is the future. Games are never gonna be the same after this. And boy, was I right. Resident Evil 4 isn't only a good Resident Evil game, it's one of the greatest games ever created simply because it was a trendsetter. There are so many games that we love today that were inspired by Resident Evil 4's design. Games like Gears of War, games like Dead Space, games like Uncharted. There are so many games that were inspired by Resident Evil 4, and it's crazy to think how one game can literally change everything, and that's exactly what Resident Evil 4 did. So with all that being said, that is the exact reason why Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake. Simply because it is a fan favorite, it's a revolutionary game. It's not only a good Resident Evil game, it's one of the greatest games ever made, and it had such a huge impact on the gaming industry as a whole. There's no way that Capcom is gonna miss this chance to remake this game and make a ton of money while doing it. And sure, there are other titles that deserve remakes. Titles like Resident Evil Code Veronica X, the original Resident Evil, and of course, the remake that everybody wants, Resident Evil Outbreak. But Resident Evil 4 is the move to make if you want to make a ton of money because it is so popular, and it is probably the most popular Resident Evil game ever created. So this is why Capcom is remaking Resident Evil 4. Now, there are many people who are saying Resident Evil 4 still holds up today. It's still a good game. It still handles very well. It doesn't need a remake. And while I used to agree with this statement, I recently went back and replayed Resident Evil 4, and I have totally changed my mind on that. Resident Evil 4, while still being a good game, just does not hold up to today's standards of gaming. The game actually feels kind of old, and it feels kind of clunky. Even though it doesn't look clunky, it feels clunky. So I can see why Resident Evil 4 is being remade, and there are many things that could be improved upon and should be improved upon with Resident Evil 4, such as character arc and development. The characters in this game have zero backstory, and none of them really develop throughout this story, and that's definitely something I think Capcom is going to change for this remake. And I truly believe that is what we're going to get with the Resident Evil 4 remake. Just everything improved. We're going to get new additions to the game that are just better. And I just think this game is going to be really good. I think it's going to be better than the original. And I can't wait to play it. Now, with all that being said, this is where you come in. I want to hear from you in the comments section below on how you feel about Resident Evil 4 being remade, and do you feel it should be remade? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.